What's your biggest regret in life? Wasting years of my life with a toxic so. I wasn't there for my wife when she breathed her last breath. It was my son's birthday party, so I had a bowling party for him with his friends and my friends and family. My best friend from Minneapolis even flew and brought his son, who my son loves, and they get along great. During the time we were out of the house, I had hospice sit vigil with my wife. She was unresponsive at this point in her illness. After the birthday party, a lot of my friends and my aunt came back to my house. They all started cooking and getting things ready for dinner. My aunt and I sat with my wife for hours at this point, just being near her. Then we had dinner and snacks. All the while I was checking on my wife and making sure she had her morphine for pain. Eventually we all settled in to watch a movie. After the movie ended, everyone left and I went back to give my wife more medicine and check on her, and she wasn't breathing. Sometime during the movie she must have passed away alone. I know logically she wasn't aware of what was happening. It just feels like I let her down by not seeing her out of this world. When I told my best friend, he consoled me by saying all our favorite people were in the house when she went. The house was full of love, and even if nobody knew what happened while it was happening, we were here and together. Regret a lot, but the biggest would be wasting almost 10 years of my life on heroin. I missed out on so much in my 20s because I liked doing heroin more. I constantly feel like I'm behind everyone else my age and that I'll always be this piece of shit because of it. I would love to go back and smack some sense into younger me. I've been sober for almost 5 years now and am getting back on track. But that is definitely my biggest one. Listening to others when I first went to college. I wanted to go into science, but everyone discouraged me from doing so. So I got a degree that I didn't really like. I'm now in my 30s and back in school to do what I want. At least I can take 1 or 2 classes a semester and I don't have to worry about electives. I'm the youngest child. I have a brother and sister. I was very close to my mother, and when she became sick and we knew the end was coming, she grew more concerned with how I would handle it. She would tell my brother to take care of me and to watch me when she died. The end came and my brother and I found out together. She died while I was picking my brother up from the hospital and I was going to drop him off and head back. By the time we reached home, the phone was ringing to tell us to come back. My brother was so strong for all of us. My mother was wrong to worry about me. I started noticing my brother's odd behavior during her wake and funeral. Ramblings about God sending him messages and the like. I thought it might pass, but if anything it got worse. Eventually, the rest of us decided her needed psychiatric care and I called the mental health unit and went to the justice of the peace. After 30 years of him being my protector, he turned on me and assumed I was now in on the plot to kill him. He began tormenting me day and night. We brought my father home from the hospital and my dad was shocked to find just how sick my brother had gotten. It came to a head when he shoved me up against a dresser while rummaging through my purse for money. He had already unknowingly sold off some of my mother's jewelry. He went and called the police and he was so convincing the police asked my father who was telling the truth. My father said my daughter. With that he was arrested for assault. I only saw him one more time at court. That was almost 6 years ago. I look for him in the faces of people on the street. I think of him every day and pray for his health. My regret in all of this is not watching him closer and for my father to have to choose. It's one thing to lose a family member to illness. But, to know they are out there all alone is a different kind of hell. Not finishing college. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, the second best time to plant it is now. Chinese proverb. Don't give up yet, it's never too late. Stopped taking my antidepressants because I was feeling better. Turned into a monster and ruined my relationship. Definitely learned my lesson. 1 year later and I take my pills every day. Just wish it didn't cost me my partner. This is something I wish everyone took seriously. The medication is working, so keep taking it. Sorry you had lost your partner over it. Please, anyone who knows anyone who talks about going off meds, have a serious conversation with them about it. Not calling CPS on my parents. It would have saved me from a lot of trauma and I feel like my life would have been a lot better. Not ending a toxic relationship with a friend sooner. My dad always told me growing up that he never had any friends. He only has colleagues or acquaintances. I pushed him further because I figured he was a loner, but he said, "Son, I've been wronged so many times in the past that the only friends I can trust are the ones I grew up with, and they're long gone. Everyone has their own angle, so keep in touch with your childhood friends, they'll be closer to you than family." Some of the best advice I've gotten. One of my only true friends is the one that I've been besties with since I was 11. I've regretted many things in life, but there's one I feel guilty even after 10 years he passed away. I should have spent more time with my father and talked to him more. I know I was only 9 years old when he died, but since then I feel something is missing in my life. I don't know how to explain it. There's no way a 9-year-old could ever comprehend the value of time and how to spend it. You were so young. I know my words are meaningless, but I hope one day you can find your peace, because there's no way he would blame a 9-year-old kid for something like that. Like I'm sure you would never blame a 9-year-old kid for not understanding how to schedule their time and think forward about complex things like death. I'm so sorry for your loss and hope this year is healing and positive for you. Either between not figuring out a career or my passion sooner in life so I don't waste most of my 20s doing jobs without any future, or not being more social and putting myself out there more earlier in my life. I know it's not as major as some of the other things here, but I think I'm studying the wrong thing in life. I let myself get bullied by family into going to university for the sciences, when really I want to do the arts. I've almost got my degree and I seem to regret it more every day. Your family did you a favor. I went to art school then university and did very, very well. But there are so few jobs. Unless you are incredibly talented and constantly on the game and lucky, or have a great network within several fields/family in the business, jobs within the arts are like unicorns. It's incredibly hard to break through. I went back to school and got another degree, a useful one this time, and finally actually getting paid and have job offers when I want a change. Arts is great as a hobby and freelancing on the side, but unless all your cards goes in your favor you'll be looking for work constantly. Of the 100 in my year, from illustration to graphic design, 3 today have a job in their field. The others work completely other fields not related to their education. Not bothering to lose weight in middle/high school. I don't want to boast, but I'm sure I would have looked fairly decent looking if I had been taking my health seriously. I could have met a girl and developed a potential relationship early on in life. But now I feel that was stopped due to my appearance from how obese I was. Fast forward to the college era, and I got my act together and gasp, I followed a calorie deficit and started to lose weight mad crazy, and was actually able to run without feeling an impending heart attack. Sometime later issues with family arose and it took a toll on my eating habits and gained all of the weight back and look like my blubbery self again. Needless to say, I'm disappointed. But I'm back at it. I know what I did wrong and know the warning signs from before. Family situation has been greatly resolved for the most part as of recent, and I'm already on day 3 of my journey again. I know this is really long, but it's also legit AF. This past summer I worked for Idaho Conservation Corps, which basically meant I spent 5 weeks up camping in the mountains. We have a lot more than potatoes, you know, and building backpacking trails. My grandma had cancer at the time, but was still expected to live for at least another year. 2 weeks into the session, we got our first opportunity to call home. I was deciding between either calling my twin sister or grandma, and I decided to call my sister. She ended up not picking up, so I had to leave a message saying how much I missed her but how much fun I was having at the same time. Anyways, a week later we had the opportunity to call home again and I decided to call my dad. He answered and there was about 20 seconds of "I miss you so much and love you, but I'm having so much fun" sorta stuff before he chimed in, "Hey, I have some bad news. Grandma died this past week." Instantly I began crying, the hardest I ever had before and probably ever will, because I had a very special and close connection to this particular grandma. I was closer with her than I was with my parents, and I'm close to my parents. In addition to my complete heartbreak that I had to handle alone out in the wilderness away from my family with no one to comfort me, it turns out that my grandma died the day after I called my sister. So, the biggest regret of my life is choosing to call my sister instead of my grandma, because if I had called my grandma I would have had the chance to talk to her one last time. I'm getting tears just writing this. I'm still so mad at myself, and I probably will be forever.